Just to clarify this right off the bat, yes, this does include the first room. We are not completing the first room normally so that we can draw charms. At no point will there be attacks or skills used in the fights, which goes for Shikifuda that can deal damage as well. We will evade our way to victory, and that makes no sense, but something that does make sense is that this training is sanctioned by... hold on, I was given a list of choice words I'm supposed to use here. The wonderful, wise, sagacious Lady Ayumiko. So if you're now pausing in wonder of how this is even possible, I have 2 words for you. Shockwave. That's right, we'll be using charms to clear the entire domain. There's a surplus of them that cause AoE shockwaves when criteria are met, the most important of them belonging to the exposure category, Explosive Charm. This is the one that leaves behind a shockwave when your character sprints, one that deals way more damage than it probably should. And maybe there's a second pause now. After all, how in the world does one get charms without fighting or using those charm draws that are locked deep within the domain? I present, for your consideration, a domain that is fully unlocked, despite not a single battle having been fought. Out-of-bounds explorations can be a powerful tool, for rooms with charm or curative emplacements open doors for surrounding rooms once you step foot in them, combined with a lucky layout of rooms, and here we are. As mentioned, the 3 carried Shikifuda deal no damage, and we can use one now to recover the damage dealt by traps while gathering charms. Speaking of, these are our starting charms. Honestly, could not have asked for a better set. This is insane luck, and it darn well better be after the 4 hours it took to have Explosive Charm show up in a draw. Last but not least, to up the ante, all level 90 characters in my party have had their artifacts removed and weapon replaced with a 1-star item. Jean has health boosting artifacts because she's level 1, and if you're wondering why she's level 1, yes, I've had her for half a year now, it's because I thought it'd be a cool challenge to try and complete this by only using a level 1 character. Spoiler alert, you'll know if I succeeded at that bit by whether it's in the video's title or not. That was a lot of ado, so without any further, let's get on with the challenge. We're doing this in one take, so to keep it from being too long, we'll speed through the transitions between rooms. We set the bar here for what's to come, and I suppose it makes sense that the luck of drawing the charms would be offset by repeated battles against multiple ranged foes. Thankfully, the ones that shoot only 1 arrow. This may be the fastest you'll ever see a level 1 take down level 85 foes. Only took 11 seconds, that's 1 second for each. I suppose this proves the damage of these shockwaves scale with nothing but adventure rank. We're opting for the charm to block cursed fields because there's an unavoidable one later on. Playing it safe here and refraining from choosing the dire challenges. This wraps up in just about 6 seconds, so technically it is faster than before, but at an average of 2 seconds per foe. Since we can't attack, the Shikifuda buff is the only option that makes sense here. Nope. We can go around this one. So I really messed up in this room. For 1, I forgot Shikifuda exists. 2, I didn't prioritize the Anemo Samurai. 3, I panicked. There's a tendency for nerves to get to me whenever a huge loss of time is on the table in a game. In this case, upwards of 4 hours in preparation just to be able to try again. And thus brings the level 1 character challenge to a grinding halt. Originally, I entertained the idea of doing this on my alt account with a level 1 Diona, but playing as Clay in this moment made me realize how much of an abhorrent idea that would be. A charm to clear all the cursed fields takes away the unavoidable one that's literally in the next hallway. We'll zoom through these next parts and bring Jean back into the picture with his curative emplacement. Was curious how many more times I would fail with Jean. She kept getting the same nonsense of multiple ranged foes thrown her way, this time with a Dendro Samurai who brought burning to the party. But I remembered the Shikifuda this time, and with a few heals, dispatching of the Samurai wasn't much of an issue. Honestly, the Anemo ones are the worst, though I guess it goes without saying that an enemy able to restrict movement would be among the worst in this situation. From here, we're already at the first level's boss. This could have gone better. More uses of the Bedrock Shikifuda would have helped immensely, as the combo game of these three is no joke and they have a lot of AoE potential. I maybe also didn't notice the electro arrow traps at first with everything going on. Perhaps going into this without practicing enemy evasion was a bad idea. Well, now know what needs working on at least. Definitely that, and keeping track of the internal cooldown of passive effects. A lot of times when I thought I had a sprint charm queued, when there wasn't one. We lure the Ruin Grader to this explosive barrel and stack it out with that before wrapping up the fight and nearly getting murdered by these electro arrows. Check the first floor off as cleared, and it's on to the second. This next fight in particular made me realize just how dependent on Noelle's shield I've been. The construct from this Geosamurai causes AoE bursts, something I'd completely forgotten about, and it has me wondering what other sources of damage I've forgotten because they never register as damage through Noelle's shield. Stalling for a moment to recharge charms, and then we rush in to catch the large hurl with the very edge of the shockwave. Another powerful charm is added to the arsenal. These next opponents are ones I wish I had seen more of. They're very easy to evade, though at times they too find it easy to evade me. Such perfect spacing. This barrel will come in handy. No charge. Still no charge. There we go, and he dashes through it just before detonation. Guy's a tricky, big bugger, I guess. He put his guard up, and I'm actually surprised this hit, given the kinds of things they're able to guard. Since curse fields are back in play, it's important to grab defense against them. Very important indeed. Treasure hoarders aren't too bad, much easier to deal with than the vast variety of weapons Hilichurls have access to. This is the only Electro Sinsin mage I ran into, and honestly, I'm glad about that. Could easily see more of them causing issues with their aggression and this special attack. With the charm given here, that completes the best possible charm set for attempting this challenge. Shockwaves on sprint and upon gathering energy, immunity to explosive barrels that do 2000% damage, halved stamina consumption, and boost to Shikifuda count. It's a rocky start, blockaded by swirling blades and bombarded by cryo and electro potions. Dealing with the treasure hoarders is priority here, as their potions could cause trouble. And there's already enough of having to worry about walking onto a bad patch of land with the traps here. A quick 1-2 takes care of them. The battle could get out of hand if these phantoms start to act, but the pyro agents continue to bunch up and run into one another, making evading them rather simple. Really thought they'd be more difficult, what with their cloaking, but they're predictable because of their dash attacks. Nullifying cursed fields is the final charm. After backtracking to check a room, as well as healing up the party, it's onto the final boss. Running in circles. The key play for the final battle. It's about all that can be done with everything acting against us. Electro arrow traps minimize the available range of safe movement in the center of the arena, and being in a small area against two Ruin Graders, not the brightest idea. By running around the perimeter, their melee attacks are rendered useless, and the electro arrows won't often cross our path. The Ruin Graders repeatedly cross the center of the arena, for like with any enemy, they take the shortest route to you. This causes them to get bombarded by the electro arrows that are being triggered, adding another source of damage, though it is inevitable that they'll use their passive heal. One has to be careful of that tri-orb attack the Ruin Graders can fire, because it can easily do exactly what it just did to Jean. Looks like it's up to Klee to wrap up this challenge after Jean drops the ball. Despite grievances earlier with controlling Klee, only having to deal with two slow and clunky enemies this time made things much easier. Nothing changed with the strategy of running around the perimeter, and little by little, the health of both Ruin Graders was chipped away. When the first Ruin Grader drops, fighting in the center of the arena becomes a lot safer. Still, I didn't want to change the strategy right away, and so Klee continued to run laps around the arena with the boss in tow getting blown to bits by bombs she'll probably be researching later on, as well as hit by many electro arrows. Success very much felt like a surefire thing at this point. The battle dragged on, and the decisive moment finally arrived. One more hit would do it. And challenge complete! There you have it! A stage of the Mystic Omnio Chamber completed without ever attacking an enemy with normal, charged, plunging, skill, burst, or Shikifuda attacks. So much fell into place for this to be possible. First is Explosive Charm existing. Without it, there would be no way to defeat large groups of enemies, as well as produce energy particles that combo into the other charm type. Second, while one could simply clear the first room normally to obtain Explosive Charm, and then start the challenge from there, Out of Bounds magic lets a true, from the very beginning attempt take place that lives up to the no attacking criterion. Third is the enemy list for the first stage of the Mystic Omnio Chamber. There are no fully shielded types in the list, such as Abyss Mages, and even large Cryo Slimes are absent, despite their smaller, unshielded variants being here. Explosive Charm does little, if anything at all, to these types of enemies, meaning if they were present, encountering one would result in a dead run. Explosive barrels might be able to remove shields, or even traps, but it's possible those may not be in the room. Frustrating preparation and crazy lineup of occurrences allowing this to happen all aside, this was honestly incredibly fun. A shake-up of the normal way to play the game, where enemies and bosses normally cast aside or crushed under the almighty power of our characters, have to instead be dealt with in another way, similar to Theater Mechanicus. If they ever release this kind of gameplay as an event, with Yae Miko also fiddling as the host of said event, I do believe many would find it an enjoyable experience. Anyways, bit different from my usual content, gameplay isn't something I focus much on, but since it happened to overlap with the theme of things I do cover a lot of, figured it'd be fun to share. If more challenges come to mind in the future, you may see those shared as well, and if that piques your interest, feel free to subscribe. There should be plenty of intriguing Genshin Impact content on the channel to entertain in the meantime. This is Musashi, signing off. Till next time.